Crowd tonight. I want to welcome everybody to the August 3rd, 2021 meeting. Official time is 6 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Before I get approval of the agenda, we've got a old business item we need to add for millage rate with Mr. Jackson, time sensitive, and executive session. We won't need personnel, but we will need real estate. That said, I need approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Mr. Jackson, are you going to do the honors tonight and do our invocation prayer?
All right, let's pray. Father God, we just come to you tonight in humbled admiration of the mercy and the grace that you bestow upon each of us, even though we don't deserve it. Lord, we just thank you for the gift of life that you give us. And we just ask that the life that you do give us, that we wouldn't waste it, but that we would use the skills, the talents, and the abilities that you've given us to serve you and also serve those around us. Lord, as we come tonight to this meeting, I just pray that you would bestow the blessing of wisdom and discernment among our leaders, that they might use those gifts to best serve our community. And Lord, we finally thank you for the gift of salvation that you freely give to all of us who surrender to you. And we just ask that all these things in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jack.
Got a special presentation tonight, Miss Jennifer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we had a benefactor that passed away and has made a very generous donation to the shelter. And I was hoping with y'all's blessing that we could name our surgery suite in honor of this person. And Miss Daniel was family and was also the executor of his estate. And I would like to show her this, to be the first one to show her for the plaque for the door, with y'all's blessing, to name the surgery suite after him.
Wow. Man.
He loved animals and kids, and
Mm-hmm.
that's two things to love, so.
That's it. Who would like to lead this off? I need a motion to make it official.
All right, I'll make a motion to name the surgery suite after Mr. Bond.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank y'all
We're
so
good.
much.
There's no relation?
Don't know who it is.
Real. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all so
Thank you,
much.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you on Dennis's behalf. He would be very proud of this.
Well, we thank y'all so much.
Glad that we can do something for him in his memory.
I'm sorry.
Glad we can do something in his memory.
Thank you.
It'll always
Thank
be
you
there.
very much. Thank you, Jeff.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
you.
That was great. Move on to board appointments. We're at the appoint PFA board member. Commissioner Martin,
Sunset Harris. I'm still working on people.
still working. Well, we got one more. We're getting there. We got a motion for Sunset Harris.
So
Make-
moved, Chairman.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
All right.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it. Thank you, Commissioner Martin.
My pleasure.
We got the consent agenda approval for the minutes. We got third Tuesday, July 2021, and executive session also that night. If everybody's had opportunity to review the minutes, if everything's fine, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Uh,
Ayes have it.
We didn't have any planning zones on it.
Nothing on zoning, no. New business, golf cart lease, Mr. Goins.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As we talked in the last meeting, it's that time to ask to renew our golf cart leases. Our current lease goes up October. If we approve this contract tonight, with E-Z-GO under state contract terms, the earliest we would get our carts would be January or February. What we would do is the carts we currently have, come October, when we make our last installment, E-Z-GO would then pay off the remaining $90,000. And I'll explain how that works in just a second. But they'll pay off the remaining $90,000, and then we would continue to lease the carts we currently have until the new ones come in. This contract wouldn't actually go in effect till we received our new carts, either January or February. How the $90,000 plays out, if you look on the sheet that I provided you, down where it says purchase program details, each one of our carts that we currently have a trade-in value of $3,300. That trade-in value is $165,000. The way that adds up is they take a part of that 165, which is the $90,000, to pay off the remaining balance of the carts we have, and then the remaining $75 is used to make the carts we're getting cheaper. And that's how we get. This is how the contracts worked for the last 20 years. It's the way all of them work with every cart company. That's how what they do is they buy our carts back, and then they resell them wherever they resell them, and then they give us the credit based on their estimated value to go toward our new lease. So we're currently paying, with the carts and the Cushman that we currently have, which is 50 carts and 2 Cushman, we currently pay $2,062.50 a month. What we want to get moving forward is 50 carts and 2 more new Cushmans on the new lease, which would be $23.85 with a difference of $322. These would be 2022 carts, and that would be a 48-month lease. And then, of course, we discussed the geofencing technology, which is fleet management, allows us to control the carts. When the carts are on rainy, wet situations, or when people are abusing our carts and doing things they're not supposed to do, this allows us to take care of the course and keep track of our carts better when it comes to the carts being abused on the course itself. And someone goes somewhere they're not supposed to go, it lets us know who and when and where. This is an $11,000 a year addition to the contract, which is $968 a month. So I'm asking that we go into the new lease for the new carts, and then also I'm asking that we do the geofencing to add on top of that for our carts. So I don't know if we need to do this in 2 separate votes, or how y'all want to do it.
We'll do the lease and then the additional request behind it.
Okay, so again, the carts itself, as I was explaining the difference, there's going to be a difference no matter what company we go with. This is the cheapest one. E-Z-GO is now getting the entire state of Georgia fleet for all the state park golf courses like Little Up Mogan, everywhere. They're getting it because they have the state contract now. So this would be under state contract terms. So this is the cheapest that the state of Georgia put together. So I'm asking to follow those same steps in renewing our lease through E-Z-GO.
Any questions for Matt?
What was the reduction in cost from last year? I think you said didn't we go down on the cost of them?
Yes, sir. Last year, they actually gave us a cheaper rating than they ever have, a cheaper rate, because we had so many problems in that 4-year span with batteries. The batteries they got from Trojan Battery during that time, it gave us an abundance of problems. And so with all that being said, they gave us a really good deal, better than they ever have. So that is also why that 322 is the way it is. It's a little bit higher than last year's difference, or last 4 years' difference. But we were running gas carts now, we're no longer running electric carts.
They've been pretty bulletproof too, haven't they?
Yes, sir, they've been much, much better.
off the top of your head, do you know what the difference was, I mean, annually that we paid? Or am I not seeing it in here?
What we paid $18.43. Here is our,
Okay, so,
this is our actual PNC finance thing. You can see our first payment, and it will show you all the way down. We made our last payment in October of this year.
okay.
If y'all want to pass this around, but that's our current contract we have with PNC, which is the finance company for EasyGo.
So Matt, my questions are more so going to be on the GPS tracking side of it.
Yes, sir.
For that increase, are we going to increase the cart rental fee to offset that? Or membership fee?
I was going to come back a little bit later and ask that. We can't in the middle of the year. All of our memberships start over in January, so that would be a October-November discussion for us to go live. If we did have any kind of increase, it'd go live in January.
Okay. But at least.
But I can tell you, being able to control the carts in, like this morning, it rained most of the morning, then when we did open up, being able to lock the carts to cart path only, you would save an abundance of money from repair and upkeep to we're having to.
On the turn.
What's the board want to do?
Motion to approve the golf cart lease.
We have a
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Ayes have it. The GPS side of the,
So the reason I'm asking now for the GPS tracking is because obviously these carts have to be built, and so to come back after the carts have been delivered to us, and then try to have the system put on later would be more expensive. So they kind of build this into the carts while they're building the carts. So now will be the time, if we decided to do it, now will be the time to do it.
I make a motion that we go ahead with the GPS geo-fencing on the golf carts.
we have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Second? Any more discussion?
The 11,000, is that a permit and perpetual fee because it's monitoring? Or is that cost of installation?
It's both. Installations, but also they do back technical service.
Mhm.
So it's an ongoing contract, just like our POS system. It's maintenance built in, it's technical service built in, and it's the system itself.
Gotcha, because I was thinking after, we cover the cost of the install, then would the rate go down because it's just monitoring at that point? But you're building in maintenance.
Well, yes, sir. And it's the cost of the system broken down over 48 months.
Right. But the next 48 months is what I'm curious about.
So what you would do, I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
So when this 48 months is up, could we take it out of these golf carts and install it into another one?
Right, because we know we're going to be back here doing the same thing in a few years.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Technology would probably be
Surpass
so
the
advanced,
next
so
year.
advanced in 4 months, you'd be surprised what they do, much less 4 years.
I don't golf, so I can't imagine that my golf cart's advancing as fast as my phone, but if it is, I hope my game's getting better.
We're gonna be George Jetson then.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about wet spots.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking again, I don't know that our cart paths change. I don't know that how we use the carts change. But if we do actually own the equipment, it would just seem nice, like the sheriff does, just move it to the next vehicle.
Sorry, Tanner. This is the EasyGo rep. Sorry to call you. I'm in the middle of my meeting, standing in front of my commissioners. Had a really good question from one of my commissioners. The GPS, the geo-fencing, at the end of my 48-month lease, can that same system be moved to our new carts, or will we have to go to a new system?
It can be transferred, but there is a $12 per unit per month fee for the software upgrades and the updates that are going to be incurred. So basically, every month, that software like we're gonna go. What we would do is come install a router at the facility, and that router and like all that technology is included in the price. But there are monthly updates that go through there, and therefore, after the term of the lease, essentially, there is a $12 per car per month, basically software service fee, because those updates are going to still be coming through. But let's say at the end of the 48 months, we're probably going to have something newer, better, and greater. And so at the end of that 48 months, you'll have the option to either renew with the new system or keep what you have just for that $12.
All right, that answers, thank you very much.
You got it.
All right. Any more questions?
Yeah, so that even causes more questions for me. So it's $600 a month just for the software to be able to update it.
It's on the, after 48 months.
That's after the 40, that's after the
48.
Right.
Because right now, it's 800, right? Because it's 16 times 50?
It'd be 1968.50 according to the paper here.
Oh, I was just doing rough math off my head, yeah. Yeah, I think
968.50.
you got both. Thank you.
So we go from 19, we go from 1937 down to 12.
Correct, yes, sir.
And that software, you could pull all your reports and everything from that software.
Yes, sir. So the way the technology works is, as soon as the cart leaves the cart barn, it goes live, just like our vehicles do, the tracking system of vehicles. Everywhere it goes in that golf course, we're able to track it. And when it goes outside of its boundaries, it shuts off until it gets back inside of its allowed boundary. And then we can set perimeters within that. So say someone violates it within 3 times in one round, it can actually shut the cart down. Well, it will not, no matter if they do push it back where it belongs or even try to drive back, it's not going to let the cart move at all until the person inside the pro shop reactivates the cart. In other words, they violated the cart policy 3 times in one round, whatever we set it at, whether it's 3, 5, 7. But it's going to, so you got a lot of different parameters you can set.
Any more questions? Any more questions? We're ready to vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate it.
Transit third-party operating agreement, Mr. Isner.
Mr. Chairman, when we bid out the transit third-party operator services a couple of years ago, there was the 1 year, and then there were 2 options for renewal. This is the second of those, and all the pricing for this was laid out in the original bid, and so this would just be a continuation of our current agreement with them as laid out in their proposal.
Any questions for Mr. Isner?
Previously, there had been some challenges with the service. Are we better?
We are. I think I recall from previous discussions a couple of years ago, at one time we had essentially 2 separate transit contracts. One was the 5311 service, and that's the subject of this. The other was a contract with DHR, the state agency, and that was provided by a different company. My understanding is that my recollection is that the issues were with that DHR provider. And so, in recent memory, I don't recall any complaints dealing with Middle Georgia Community Action Agency that operates that service right now.
And do we have any numbers about ridership, usership? I know COVID probably had an impact on it, but.
Yeah, I don't have any of that with me. I'd have to get that for you, but yeah, on the funding side, we are getting reimbursed at 100% right now from CARES Act money. That will be running out. It may have run out at the end of July. I'd have to check the exact timing on that, but for a substantial period of time there during COVID, we were reimbursed at 100% by the state.
Any more questions from Ms. Risner?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Kitchen. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 3 on our new business, beer and wine license, Ms. Wagner.
I have 2 beer and wine, license applications. Jason and I went through them, and we went through the backgrounds. Everything's good, so I make the recommendation to approve both of them.
Any questions for Ms. Wagner?
I'm so not used to not seeing any information about the beer and wine license that, oh, it's over here, sorry. My other pile.
Yeah, your other pile.
All right. Doing them together.
2 separate votes.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and just call out the first one you want to do. And then
All right, the first one is for 2810 Gray Highway. That's right there on the corner of Gray Highway and Joy Cliff.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
These have been looked at by the sheriff's office too?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a motion to second, any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it. On your second one, Ms. Wagner.
The second one is the 49er Food Mart.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Dip
Ayes
County,
have it.
Jones County, Dip County, that little spot over there on the left. Just below them.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you.
We can't owe business, Mr. Jackson, you want to, where's Brian at?
I
You
was
gonna do
just
that? Okay, go ahead. I thought Brian was going to do it.
No,
I didn't got you doing it.
yeah. So I'd sent out some information about the proposed millage rate that we'll need for advertising purposes. A couple weeks ago, the board voted to advertise the existing rates. As we've looked more at the digest and what it's expected to produce, Brian Jackson mentioned to me that the amount between the rollback rate and the current rate is negligible. I mean, it's basically virtually no difference there. And so wanted to present to the board the idea of, for the unincorporated, going with the rollback rate. That would avoid having to have multiple public hearings and notices in the newspaper about tax increases and that type of thing. The current millage rate is, this is for county unincorporated, is 16.197. The rollback rate would be 16.185. And so that's the situation for county unincorporated. For county incorporated, the rollback rate is actually higher than the current millage rate. So if y'all want a recommendation from me, it might be to leave the county incorporated alone and just advertise the current rate there, which is the 17.649, and then for county unincorporated, rather than advertising the current rate, advertise the rollback rate of 16.185.
I gotta ask a silly question. How can a rollback rate be higher than the current rate? It's like walking into Walmart and the rollback is higher than.
All the time, too, you watch it.
So it has to do with the changes in the digest. So for incorporated, the value of the, it all has to do with the convoluted way that the state says we have to calculate these things.
And
And
you
so,
talked about inflation and a few other things. I was just curious, like, how do they do that? Like, it wouldn't make sense to me.
I think he's basically saying, they're basically saying the values of the incorporated area went up at a higher rate than the unincorporated areas. And that probably because there's more opportunity for water and sewer and more subdivisions. And the more rural you get, the more you're in septic tanks and wells, and so the value doesn't increase as fast on the incorporated side.
I could put everybody to sleep if
No,
you
no.
want me to. But sort of how that calculation is done. But yeah, it basically has to do with, for incorporated, you had a relatively substantial decrease in the reassessments of existing real property. And so that really is kind of what drives it.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
What's the lead off?
Make the motion that we keep the incorporated the same to keep from having tax increases there, and we roll back the unincorporated areas to give some relief there to the taxpayers.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Can I see?
Got speed breakers, Mr. Ritter.
The board has talked a time or two about speed breakers and a petition that we got for a particular road. And I was asked to kind of come back with some policy recommendations. So in your packet, you have two different policies. The first one there, I realized too late that it says Jones County. That's actually a policy from Bullitt County. I had gone through and started to revise that, and then I sort of came up with a different game plan on how to approach the board with this. So the first policy is one that came from Bullitt County. The second policy is one from Sumter County. They take two very different approaches, and as I was looking through those, I thought it might help, rather than just giving you one or the other, or me trying to decide what parts of those you might like and might not like. I've kind of come up with a list of questions here, various things that you would want to think through and decide on as we write a policy, such as what's the speed limit on roads where the board would consider doing that. Do you consider residents on side roads, or is it just the main road? And then what percentage of residents would have to indicate that they're in favor of it? Do you specify a process for removal with the same percentages? Do you specify a particular type of device that we're going to use? Do you want a traffic study done before that? So I've come up with a list of questions. I'm happy to, I'm going to send these around. And if, Chairman, I mentioned to you earlier, if you want to have a discussion tonight, that's fine, or if you'd just rather the board get back to me on what they think about these various issues.
I think, give us opportunity, my thought, to give us opportunity to take it home and look it over and think about it, and then come back. That way we won't try, the meeting.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about boring them to death, we can bore them to death, and we keep, just everybody check off, and we'll take a census of what each commissioner likes, and we can bring it back and go from there.
That
Sound like a
sounds
good
good.
idea to the board?
I can take those responses and kind of, based on the consensus there, I can draft up something for y'all to have.
Yeah, and you email these to us, and we'll put our answers on
Okay.
and send them back, and you can compile them up.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
They're not, I mean, they're two different ways of looking at it, but I don't think they're that far apart.
No,
when you start
no.
looking at
Right.
them.
Just some details there that need some direction on.
Yeah, it's a good start, though. It's good.
Right, no action needed on that. We'll get the questionnaires out, and we'll come back at the next meeting, and you can give us what you've come up with.
Okay.
All right, is that all for speed breakers?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Goins, you got your contest going on.
Well, we working on to finalize the details, and so I gave y'all a sheet on that. This is just what we put together as a starting point. Love to have y'all's input. As you see, it says litter campaign contest. Submissions can be submitted to Jones County Parks and Recreation by email, by regular mail, or through our Facebook page. Our plans is to take these submissions and put them in Google Docs. And so if we get them in the mail, we can scan them into the Google Docs. If we get them by email or by Facebook, we can just download them straight into Google Docs. Makes it easier to compile them. And then once the contest ends, what we can do at that point is whoever y'all put together as a contest committee as far as the judging committee, it's easy for us at that point to pass them off to them through keeping everything in Google Docs. And what we would like to do, if you see the back of the sheet, if you're reading it, it says to participate, you must live in Jones County and may only submit one entry. Mailing entries may be sent to the address, email, or Facebook. And I want to make sure we're talking about, one thing I want to do tonight is leave here with what exact dates we're doing. That's one thing I want to make sure we left here with tonight.
Use the P.O. box.
Okay, yes. 1355, right? 1350?
59.
59.
Somewhere.
Gotcha. So what dates? I know we talked about it, but I don't know that we finalized that last.
I say September 20th, like
Yeah.
you got on the sheet.
But we're starting immediately, so start
Well,
tomorrow.
let school get started.
Okay, that's what I was. And so what we're going to do is we're going to promote this. We're going to promote this through our county website, through Keep Jones Beautiful, through the Blight Committee, through the chamber, through all of our social media there at Parks and Recreation. We're going to get with the school system, utilize them, our public library. We're going to reach out and use everyone we can possibly reach to promote this. Even get with the banks, put on their scrolling marquees and flyers around town like Ace Hardware, Ingles, other places, and really push this out there. And try to get people on board, also other places within the community like Chevy's and Dairy Queen and other things to help promote this. And as you see, we have a first, second, third place prizes of $50, $30, and $20. We can change that if y'all deem necessary. I came up with that because it's a smooth $100, which is a easily dividing of $20 per commissioner. That's how I come up with the $100.
Genius.
I say let's start pushing it in the schools and everything on August the 16th.
Okay.
That's 2 weeks, a week and a half into school, so.
All right, will do. And are y'all good with the prizes? And what we would do with the prizes is we can do it however you want to do it. We can blind draw restaurants to get these gift card certificates from, or we can just do Visa gift cards, however y'all want to handle that. That's something we can decide between now and September 20th. And I'd love to have y'all's input, food for thought.
Well, first thing, please change message to MESSAGE instead of message, for the school folks in here. So, when I read this, it says litter campaign contest. It doesn't say what we're looking for. It doesn't say design us a logo or, something we can put on a sign. It just says litter campaign contest. So what is the contest? Are we seeing how much litter we can pick up? Are we getting the biggest campaign going? Are we, writing letters? Are we?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it needs to say something about.
Litter campaign slogan contest.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Logo, slogan. So, and then the second part is what's the criteria we're gonna grade it by, and who's gonna grade it? Are we just gonna hand them all to the commissioners and say, good luck with it, or?
Well, I don't know how y'all want to build the committee. I figured y'all would build the committee out of a collaboration of people, whether it be Keep Jones Beautiful, a commissioner, somebody from the Blight Committee. Y'all figured y'all would build a 4 or 5 person committee to do that.
Pick one from every one of them. Blight, Keep Jones Beautiful, Commissioner.
Have a work session and pick
School,
slogan.
yeah. School board. And
So I would, since I need to explain the contest. So when we do that, when we go back and rework this, do you want us to limit it to logo in 2 sentences, logo in 10 words, 5 words, or just let them send what they
let them
send?
see what they send in. Don't
Okay.
limit their abilities.
Okay.
I think we do need to say something about it needs to go on an exercise sign, because I think if somebody comes up with a great idea and it's got 50 words on it, you know, because we know where we're going to put it. It's got to be visible where you ride down the road, and it's got to pop, and
Right.
you got to be able to read it.
Gotcha.
So if this was their logo and it was on a sign, I'd be like, I don't know what it said, but it was a nice looking sign.
The only other addition I would make is let's connect it to our website too, so they can get information about the Litter campaign, what the black community has been doing, because we are educating at this time, so let's tie that in.
Can you make a QR code, Matt?
Yes, sir.
And then people can share it on our Facebook page too, and then when people anywhere can just look at it. And I guess we'll start working on the there's a five-person grading committee. Blight, keep Jones beautiful.
And Jason takes cash, check, or
Cash out.
cash out.
Payroll deduction.
Is it Jason Bob?
So I guess we didn't vote on it last time, so I guess you need a vote to kick off the campaign.
Absolutely. I'm getting ready to ask for a motion.
Yeah, make a motion to kick off the litter campaign slogan contest, Chairman, with the details discussed.
Second.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have 'em. Thank you, Matt. Matt, while you up, are you gonna start off department head?
Yes, sir, I do. So I also gave you, well, while Mr. Jackson's back there, yeah, there he is. Been chatting with him about a project out here beside us. And so he's here tonight to help me answer questions y'all may have. But we would like to do a community garden, an edible community garden. Let me make sure I specify. Out here at the dog park. And so,
I'm sorry.
School started.
Yes.
yeah. So we want to, we would sit down and work out what vegetables or fruit that we would grow, but wanted to get y'all's input on your thoughts on.
Sound like a 4-H all over.
Does it have water running out there already?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. Sounds good to me.
We also have a rain garden barrels that we are ecologically collecting rainwater for purposes like that.
Oh. Are you gonna try out all your handiwork?
It does work, because we already have a pollinator garden out there right now. So it would be this would be a nice addition to the pollinators that the soil and water conservation has.
Sounds good to me.
And we can wrap this into curriculum of 4-H and have a sustainable every year the kids are maintaining this, or is it something we need to maintain through the recreation department? I would hope that it's going to be part of our 4-H program or kids.
We talked about it
programs.
being collaborative efforts between the two.
Yeah, that way it gives us, because put a bunch of these things in and make them big, and then they work great for about 2 years. And then they go downhill because if people lose interest or, but if we have a sustainable program where the students are at least coming in, weeding and learning, planting this every year and growing it, they grow it through the season, and then the next year, the next group comes in and plants, and we can support it, but I think we need a sustainable program.
So with your permission, me and Mr. Jackson to get together, working on all the details, and then we can come back. Obviously, this is not a voting moment. Come back with more details on what, when, where, and how large, and move forward from there.
Can I just do this little recommendation? To Sam's point, I know they've been populated in different areas. I know in Bibb County. Can we tie it into the schools too? Because obviously you have 4-H programs at both of the middle schools, correct? And that may be an opportunity for them because it's right in their neighborhood. Hey, come and work it. Because if they don't have time during school hours, they have to be able to access it after school. And I think that'd be a neat opportunity, no matter where you're at, you can get to one of those gardens. I don't want to advocate for Liberty Park or the 49 area because I don't know where those spaces are, but definitely at the middle schools if we have that opportunity.
Mhm.
And every one of your elementary schools are STEM certified or working on it, so it could be places that they could do field trips to get the school involved at the elementary level too.
All right, we'll put the details together and come back to you then. Just wanted to make sure we had support before we move too much further. The other thing is you have this picture in front of you. Met with the Gray Garden Club, some fine young ladies. And you probably can't see as good. I'll pass mine around. It's a little clearer than yours. That's what we said.
I was gonna say, we might need to buy some ink, so we need.
But you can see where you have the pavilion, and then you have some green there. Those are the bushes, the hedge that are already currently in place. And then you can see an area that's like an L shape or a backward 7, or it is a 7, not a backward 7. Maybe I need to go back to school. That's a raised bed that would be built, and then you see the other raised bed right below it, and then in between would be a walkway, which would need to be a concrete surface for it to be a wheelchair accessible, coming off of our current sidewalk that we have. Where it said add another bench, that is either going to be an area for a wheelchair to sit, or we would add another bench. That area right there is still up in the air, but that would be a concrete pad as well. So what we're here tonight to do, before I dig deeper into, obviously there's a cost associated with any time you do a project like this, but we're going to move forward. I didn't want to move forward doing too much, 'cause I don't like chasing stuff down rabbit holes without your permission. But if this is something y'all have interest in us doing or allowing me to do, then I'll move forward, hopefully trying to get as much of this donated as we possibly can. And then, once we know how much we can get donated, we'll come back and say, okay, here's what's left, here's what it costs to be.
Is this right?
This is at the Morris Bank Recreation Complex at the Inclusive Playground.
Okay.
Is where this is located.
And so the garden club will be the ones that help maintain that area?
They will be the ones that would actually build it, and yes, ma'am. And this would be a sensory garden for kids with different disabilities and everything. They'll be able to come and be a sensory style garden.
Well, great, I'm glad they're having a garden now.
Your mama's gonna be right in there.
She's gonna be so happy.
So this is between the parking lot and the existing
Pavilion, yes, sir.
Are you still gonna have your access road behind it to get on?
It's,
the
yeah,
other
we're
side?
not, we actually have a fence. It's gonna be inside the fence, yes, sir. The access for Edenton Gas is still behind it, yes, sir.
Okay.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I like that.
Good to me.
Fills up that square there, perfect.
Mhm. And then we'll start with that project then. And the last thing is, with school starting back tomorrow, Miss Greta Woods, who, fine young lady that works with Miss Vaughn at the bus garage, has been working 49 this summer. And you probably can't vote on the night, but here's what I would like to do with this young lady is, we didn't use all the money y'all approved because we didn't get started till a little bit later than our intended start date. What I would like to do until y'all are able to vote next 2 weeks from now is continue to use her when she gets through with her bus route to come to the gym. And the reason behind that is that gym needs to be swept every single day. Y'all just spent some money to redo the floor. It's a beautiful floor. And the company that did the floor, their number one recommendation is it doesn't need to be buffed, doesn't need to be waxed, it needs to be swept every single day. And that's, you keep the grit and the dust off of it, then it stops their shoes from grinding that into the floor, and it stays shiny and it stays good. So sweeping is the number one most important thing. I know that doesn't sound like a big task, but when my guys are wide open, cutting grass and other things, just don't have the time to get up there every single day. Not only that, it will help also with the restrooms. And then I would like for her, we don't open that gym on Saturdays because we don't have enough manpower. We open Monday through Friday and then Sunday afternoons. If she could come in and clean the gym in the mornings when she gets through her bus route, and then she said she would love to work Saturdays at that gym, open it up during the day on Saturdays, which would make the gym accessible to that community on Saturdays as well.
Put it on the next agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the idea, just figure out if it needs to be a contract or if it's a part-time, position, how we want to do it, but, yeah, I see the need there.
And check, oh,
Thank you for those kind words, because she is just that gracious. I mean, she's one of those that the parents on that bus route appreciate too, so she takes pride in it.
Yep.
and if there's workforce dollars available, let's see what we can do for those, because that would be something different. With regard to sweeping the floor, do we have to put anything particular down on that floor? Any little
just-
granules?
Just a good, clean dust mop.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Get the grid up.
Yep, that's the main thing, get the grit off the floor. So literally, when you sweep it, it has to be swept probably 3 times to make sure, because you never get it all the first time.
Do we have large dust mats? Because, they
We
come.
have, yes, sir, we have 5-footers.
All right, great, because I hadn't been down there a
Yes,
couple
sir.
weeks. Thanks.
All right, thank y'all.
Mr. Jackson, you got anything tonight? You know you want to talk.
I do.
Come on forward.
Well, no, I'm saying I do, but I probably shouldn't.
It's up to you.
I can give you an update.
Okay, sure.
I just want to update y'all on what is going on in the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension Office. As you know, in February, Michael Abney, who was our agricultural and natural resources agent, resigned, and we are currently in the process of figuring out some rearranging of how we want to refill the position of his vacated position. I'm actually met with administration in Athens today to try to get us a better deal than what we've had offered. So that looks like it will probably go through, but it will be a little bit more time. I asked if I could share, and they said no. So if you would like to know, talk to me afterwards. And please, when it's not public. So, and please don't print that I said that. So, but it should be more of a, the kind of what we're looking at right now is that what we had is what we will get.
Yep.
As opposed to rearranging like we were talking about. So other than that, that's about where we're at. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Ritter?
3 things real quick, Mr. Chairman. One, the TextMyGov app is up and running. You can get to it on the county website. There's a widget that appears in the bottom right corner, and you don't have to get to it that way, but the number is there for you to text in information about code enforcement violations, planning and zoning, water, and public works.
Got some complaints.
And so we've got that up and running now, and it went live a week ago Friday. And so kind of our thought there was to let that just kind of hang out there with a soft opening or soft rollout kind of thing for a few more days, and then talk with Debbie and see if she can help us to publicize that. So it's up and running and working there, and it should appear on the bottom right when you pull up the county website there. Redistricting. Sat through an ACCG webinar about a week ago dealing with the redistricting process for local governments. It looks like in the fall, sometime this fall, we should get local redistricting data, and we'll be able to start working through that. The legislature will have a special session later this year, but what we understand at this point is they're not going to take up any local redistricting bills. So we'll have the fall to get all that ironed out, and then in the session that starts in January, the regular session in 2022, we would take the map that this board has agreed upon and have one of our legislators introduce that as the new district map for the county. So that's kind of where we are in that process. We're just kind of on hold, waiting on data from the Census Bureau. One last thing I was going to mention, when the American Rescue Plan Act was rolled out, we knew that there would be, we got our direct allocation of money. We've gotten our first tranche of money there, and we'll get the other in about 8 months, I guess, from now. But there are lots of other programs in that bill, and NACO has a good website if you ever want to kind of dig down into some of those programs. We're starting to get information about those other programs and how they might work and what you might be able to do with some of that money. HCCG is going to have a webinar on Friday dealing with some of the money that was sent to the state of Georgia. The state has now started to figure out how they're going to dole out some of that money, and some of it is going to go towards water and sewer projects, local water and sewer projects. And so we're going to tune into that webinar on Friday, and then Friday afternoon, Tim Ingram and I are going to meet with Greg Boyke from the Regional Commission to talk about what projects we've kind of had out there that might be eligible for that program. And what we understand at this point is they're looking for quote unquote shovel ready type projects, and so we've got some of those in the water and sewer area that we think might be a good fit for that. So more to come on that, but just wanted to let you know they are starting to release some of those money, some of those programs and the money associated with them. There's another piece of it that deals with CDBG, and there's a new pot of CDBG money for health departments and food banks. The health department folks will be coming before you 2 weeks from tonight to talk some about that. And so you're going to start hearing about more and more of these types of programs that were associated with that bill. It's just taking time to develop all the regulations and to release all the money associated with those. So that's all I had. I'll be happy to answer any questions about those things if anybody has them.
Question? Wagner, you got anything tonight? Any citizens tonight like to come forward?
George Scoville.
Got to introduce myself.
I come seeking some advice. I don't know if I'm speaking on behalf of some of my neighbors, and I don't know if y'all can answer it. Is maybe the county attorney should be the one, or should we be going before planning and zoning? But our neighborhood, years ago, we don't know, none of us, from what I can find out, knew anything about it happening, but we've got one of those River's Edge behavioral houses within our neighborhood. It's on Rebel Drive. Recently, we had a shooting about 2 months ago. You can hear the gun being unloaded there. And after that deal, the guy took his fist and busted the windows out of the house. There's something squabbling over there all the time, boyfriend, girlfriend, kids involved, this sort of thing. One of the neighbors several years ago, one of them cursed her out. They had the road blocked down there. She was trying to get by. He cussed her for everything he could call her. First, about 3 years ago, one of the neighbors across the street there from this house, she and I went to talk with Butch Reese, a pair of tennis shoes hanging on the line, on the power line. We didn't know what that was, but we found out later that's gang signs. So we went and talked to Butch about it. Georgia Power came the next morning and got those tennis shoes down. So our point is, it's been trouble. One of the deputy sheriffs point blank told me this from his straight face to face. He said, every time we get a call on Rebel Drive, they don't even need to give us an address. They just go to that house because there's something brewing all the time. But the shooting about 2 months ago, my son was at a Boy Scout camp with his kid, and so he wasn't there, but my daughter called me that night, or daughter-in-law called me that night about 11:15. Did y'all hear the gunshots? Well, I didn't hear them because I was getting out of the shower. Anyway, I was astonished the next day when I heard that ring system on their house, how vivid it picked up the sound of those gunshots. That guy was arrested. The Jones County Sheriff's Department caught him up the road there about 10 minutes later. They said, or a few minutes later, they said, squabbling over the boyfriend, girlfriend, the kid involved. They got to squabbling. She told him, well, just take a gun and shoot the house up, which he did. 2 weeks later, the windows get busted out. So we're wanting to know who we need to see. Is it is this a county commissioners, something we should talk to y'all about, or maybe the county attorney, the sheriff's department, or planning and zoning, or do y'all know?
First, I mean, it sounds like it's just a rental house, but I mean, I'd check with Tim to make sure it still is, if it's in Tim Petrowski, and see if it's a zoning issue.
Yeah, because we never knew, from what I can feel of the neighbors out there, nobody ever knew that this was what it was going to be. The couple that lived there built the house years ago, and they ended up getting divorced and moved, and next thing we know, this house had been sold. And you know, my thing is, if it can happen, I'm not saying we're privileged and it shouldn't happen, but it, you know, all in wanting, you know, to help kids out, but we don't want gunshots and fighting and all this kind of squabbling going on
What are you
constantly.
talking about?
Not exactly, but I did get some information, well, I did get a call about it, but there, to my knowledge, what's that?
I don't think it's River's Edge.
Yeah, I don't
There's a
think,
Harold Raines that I've talked with him. He's been very cooperative. A guy named Harold Raines.
Just a rental house?
I think it is just a rental house, because we have not approved, I know, yeah.
It wouldn't be a group home, so I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like just a rental house. It's, you know.
I don't know. You know, we
Pretty
know that
intense
none of
with
us
our-
were ever in, we never knew it was happening. And next thing we know, well, who's living there? Well, that's one of those River's Edge behavioral houses.
I don't,
So,
I've never had River's Edge come to me. They're generally on the, Commissioner Martin had, I think, had some in Bibb County one time. Didn't you have some River's Edge in Bibb County?
Right, we did have River's Edge, and then they moved to their own property. And they used to contract directly with landlords, so we would know.
yeah.
But might be, and without going into FERPA, might be children involved that may have some challenges as well, so we may have to.
Yeah. Well, one of the girls I was told that lives there can't even attend. She's been totally kicked out of the Jones County school system.
Right,
Yeah.
and that gets beyond us.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so,
I mean, well, obviously, the sheriff's department's handling the you know, that's your main goal. It's not a group home, because I don't have
No.
any knowledge of any group homes, so, it sounds like you got, a landlord needs to better scan his tenants before he.
so do we need to maybe talk with,
Talk with, the sheriff to see.
Tim or Butch?
It's not gonna be a zoning, it sounds like it's just a,
It's a
I
tenant
thought you were talking
issue.
about a group home, but that's what I was,
Well, we don't know. All we've been told is River's Edge, and Harold Raines, the guy, I've got his phone number because he has been super cooperative. He told me, you call me anytime. He didn't know about the shooting. And then 2 days later, the girl that's above him, she called me back and she said the shooting situation has been turned over to the Jones County Sheriff's Department, to the law enforcement. So she said, it's out of my hands now. But, you know, our thing is, we don't want that in our neighborhood. If that's, I mean, if it's gonna be like that, the heck with that, you know, shooting kids are there, and what's next, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you're right on the Bibb County line, and it happens every day, I hate to say it. And
So,
I ain't proud of it, I got one house been shot 15 times in 3 trips, and it's,
yeah,
you know, I done put so many windows in the house, it's unreal, I ain't, you know, they don't even live there anymore.
well, this one now has plywood over the windows, and it was a nice looking house, you know, before,
Yeah, that's-
and all this.
It's not a group home, obviously, so it's gonna, you know, just work with the sheriff and,
So check with the
I think-
sheriff's department maybe?
just talk with the sheriff's department, and I think as far as the landlord goes, he needs to do a better job of screening his tenant.
Okay, thank you.
All right, appreciate your concern. Anyone else tonight? Ms. Vaughn, you wanna start us off tonight?
Looking forward to tomorrow, first day of school. Everybody be cautious out there. I know that our Public Works does a great job in trying to keep all of our dirt roads passable for buses, and I'm sure with the rain that we've had the last 2 days that I'll be having some, Luke Smith will be really slick tomorrow, so. But Pee Wee, thank the guys out there for me. Okay. And, I'll be tired tomorrow.
Sleep good tomorrow night. Mr. Martin?
Looking forward to my second first day of school. My baby starts middle school, my last one. Excited about the school year. Want us to look at how we can incorporate some more leadership programs into our school system. I know Bibb County is working on the civics engagement component, and I'm on one of those boards with Dr. Trammell to make those things happen. So we need to consider that as well, because we're talking about the aging population and folks like you and Sam, because you're all the oldest, aging out and other folks. And other folks coming in. I'm catching up, don't worry. But we want to prepare our youth to take those roles, to not only get educated here, but work, grow, and retire here as well. So bringing those programs into the school and getting them access to us. Did want to get an
And just custodians, nutritional staff.
Yep.
Our next joint meeting, maybe have Mr. Stillings come and talk to that too.
Absolutely, because there are funds, and if we don't use it, we lose it. And I'd hate for us to send money out of the region. And then specifically with regard to Jones County, how many youth we got employed this summer. Obviously, COVID had some impact on that last summer, but hopefully getting back into that. And then how we can leverage, again, workforce development for any of the other county needs we have for initial training, as opposed to dropping them onto our payrolls early, but having them go through a work-based learning program, whether it's an adult or a child, before we formally employ them. So just thinking about those things. Alton Road, still getting phone calls because Macon Water has cut into our roads, and they have not patched the roads back. With water and, of course, now heavier bus usage, further damage. And, of course, Mr. Henson is calling me regularly, and he says he's called you.
Every time he calls, we go out there, but
Yeah, but Macon Water Authority.
Is it down near the end where the cul-de-sac is, where the creek is already kind of right there?
Yep.
It's been in bad shape for years.
But Macon Water Authority's cut into our roads, and their repair strategy is probably not appropriate. I talked with Jeffrey about it, but we may need to lean into Macon Water Authority to say, hey, if you're going to cut into our road, here's the expectation, so the road doesn't get further degraded by a poor patch. And then basketball. We had some parents talk to us about starting a basketball league, another one for smaller kids on 49, and I'm hoping that they will follow up, and then we can leverage that Saturday for the little folks to come in there and play some ball. Awesome. That's all I got.
I'm gonna speak next. Look at these two. I'll probably stealing some of y'all's stuff tonight, but Thursday, Commissioner Wood and Commissioner Kitchen and myself got a great opportunity to witness our city and county volunteer firefighters training. A lot of energy. You know, there's a lot of interest. It was a great session. Even through all the heat, all the gear they had on, I'm just looking at them like, how in the world are y'all wearing it? But they act like it wasn't nothing to it. They got out there and learned how to use some of the new equipment that the county had. I don't think the cities, y'all got some similar equipment, but
We've used the equipment before, but
hands off.
it was their second, maybe third time using it, maybe some people's first time, but it was good
And
equipment.
it was a great, well attended, and it's great to see the county and city working together.
Very good.
I think he's looking at us like we should go to the next one.
I was just concerned that they were gonna pass out there in those, I
Well,
had
they
already
didn't.
called.
They had people designated to hand out water, and
Very
it
good.
was well used. I think I consumed 4 while I was there. Great. Commissioner Wood?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll echo your comments about the joint training with the city and county last Thursday night, and the city, I know, looks forward to working with the county, and hopefully the county fire department surely looks forward to working with the city when needed, when called. Speaking of opportunities, I look forward to the next opportunity the school board and the city council meet. I look for more participation from our other partners, such as school board and city council. Maybe everybody can attend. Look forward to working together, having joint partnerships. It's a couple months away.
It's on the joint meeting you're talking about?
Next joint meeting.
Yep.
But got a couple road issues we're still working on Stallings Road. I'm getting pictures and comments from neighbors out there. The patches that were put in didn't hold. And it's breaking up further and further. It's
on the list.
It's on the list, but
So we held the pre-construction meeting Monday, I believe it was, yesterday, with C.W. Matthews on the Elmeg project. Part of that was patching, and the top road on our list of places to be patched is stalling. So, so that'll be the first one that gets addressed on the patching there.
okay. Just keep me in the loop on that conversation with C.W. Matthews, because that way I can pass along information to the neighbors and just stressing to them, be patient. We are working on it. That's about all I have tonight.
Ms. Kitchen?
Echo what Chairman said too about the 2 fire departments working together. I think we had 69 people there, It was awesome to see, and I don't know how they do it. Gives me even more respect for them. No, I was in shorts and a t-shirt and about to die. And these guys and gals were running around with full gear on, and man,
Like it
Yeah.
wasn't nothing to it.
like wasn't nothing to it, hardly breaking a sweat. I'm like, I don't know how they do it, but anyway, yeah, it was awesome to see, and it was great. Yeah, all the way around great. So, what Commissioner Martin was talking about with utilities, I think, Jason, can you look and see if we've got any policy? We run into this in Macon BM too a lot with, there's some kind of laws where utilities have the right to basically dig in sidewalks, dig in streets, whatever, and patch it back based on their policy. It was very frustrating through engineering in Macon when I was dealing with sidewalks in downtown stuff, because it never gets patched back to our standard. We didn't think, and so yeah, you can lean on them, but I think that's the working relationship we got to try to figure out. But I didn't know if that was a statewide policy or something that was adopted in BIB years ago.
I'll have to check and see. I haven't dealt with that issue, at least in recent memory, so
Yeah.
I'll dig into that and see.
And there may be some difference between a downtown decision and a roadway decision, somebody adopt something from Federal Highway or something like that, but, yep. Yeah, but other than that, that's all I have, Jim.
All right, great. I need a motion to go into executive session for real estate real quick.
Motion to go into executive session for real estate, Chairman.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming. John,